It's the showdown everyone wants to see. A veteran trying to claim another title and a two-time champion trying to claim a third. It's a showdown in Sacramento tonight.
I'm the best dude here as far as ability-wise.
I really just need to go out there and do one thing, and that's to win.
We worked so hard this year. The team worked so hard.
Let the race begin.
We're underway. The carrot is there. Can he go after it?
It doesn't take much for a guy to go down.
Wow, that was close. That was the pressure point.
Looking fantastic.
Wow, I did not expect this.
If he ruffles some feathers along the way, so be it.
Can't say these guys aren't tough. They take the win. Unbelievable run. You don't often see domination like this.
How impressive is that?
What a performance.
We haven't been disappointed.
Things are heating up as we head into the Law Tiger Sacramento Mile presented by Knauf Insulation. We raced here last night. Jared Mees absolutely dominated. He has won 3 races in a row, and he is now closed right up behind defending champion Bauman in the points. Bauman has to try to find a way to reverse the results tonight on the mile. And Brian Smith, a master of this type of racetrack, will race his final ever event right here, right now. So that's another great storyline to track. We'll be doing it. Jason Wygant, former Grand National champion Brad Baker here. Kristen Beat down on the racetrack. Let's look at the points. Virtually nothing in it between Mees and Bauman now.
Yeah, only 4 points between Jared and Breyer. I mean, if Jared wins here tonight, Breyer's going to go out of it at least 1 point down if he ends up second. So the pressure is on Breyer to either beat Jared or just finish in second place behind him to minimize the damage going into last race. This is going to be super exciting.
And another great story to cover, the Mile Master Brian Smith, 2016 American Flat Track Champion, is calling it a career, and this will be his final race tonight. And more interesting, he's had problems with his own motorcycle. Jared Mees is giving him a backup bike to race tonight. Here's Kristen Beat with Brian.
An emotional day for Brian Smith as he prepares to make his last professional American Flat Track start here at the Sacramento Mile, your last career start. We've talked about this throughout the last few shows, but you announced your retirement this season. What emotions are you feeling right now? Any nostalgia at all racing here at Sacramento?
It's cool to finish up your career at a cool historic track like Sacramento. Haven't had the results we're looking for yet, so hopefully we can get something on the board here this final weekend.
When you look at the paddock and the friendships you've made throughout the years, that always seems to be one of the things that you've reflected back on it as being endearing and hard to leave. What are you kind of reflecting on in this moment about the paddock, and are you maybe taking a little more time to enjoy it?
Definitely not taking more time to enjoy it because I'm still in race mode, still want to do better. We haven't did good, so we're trying to figure out how to do better, how to go faster, how to get up in the mix. For whatever reason, whether it's the bike or the rider, we've been off the pace, and we're still searching here this final day in Sacramento.
Racers, doesn't matter if they're on their final race, they still want to win. We'll give you the highlights of our semis qualifying racing. Mees out front. How about the Harley-Davidson, James Rispoli?
Yeah, great start by James, getting off in second. See if he's able to keep pace with Jared Mees here, but hard charging Davis Fisher there in second.
This is just an instant replay what we saw last night. Jared Mees just pulls away, absolutely dominates. He owns Sacramento, race to the line. Vanderkoy is going to hold off Fisher. Those two had quite the scrap last night. Looking forward to a rematch tonight. Now we go to this one, and, well, last night, Bauman could not solve Sammy Halbert until the end. Couldn't figure him out in the semi.
And Brian Smith is a lot closer today on Jared Mees' backup bike. This is the traditional chassis of the FTR Indian Scout, so maybe Brian will be in the mix here today.
That's what we want, more contenders. This is the Mission Challenge, $5,000 on the line in a 4-lap sprint. No points paid. This is for pride and for money. Revs are up. And there we go. These are the top 2 in each of the 2 semis, and Mees to the front immediately.
Yeah, Jared closest to the groove. That's where more traction is on the outside. Kind of see how Breyer sat up on the inside, just trying to get more weight to the rear tire to get traction off the line. Didn't quite work out for him as he's back and forth.
Yeah, last time out, he got to start on the high line, but that's where the traction is, and he pulled good starts. This time on the inside, it did not work. And Mees pulling away as per usual. Here is that start.
And can see how Breyer just kind of sets himself back, you know, just wants to get as much weight on the rear tire as possible. But when you're down on that inside line, it's almost like sand on top of polished concrete. It's just super slick. But look at Jared already marching away from these guys. I mean, he's just able to get through the corner so much better. You can see that little bit of a hole in between 1 and 2. It's almost like he doesn't even phase him. He just kind of glides over it. So him and the team got things figured out again here today.
I am just shaking my head. The mile races, it's usually about drafting and close action all the way to the end, and he is pulling away. You see the battle right behind him.
You can see Jared actually goes underneath that hole. I mean, there's only maybe a tire track width to be able to go underneath it, but he times it this perfectly to go underneath it instead of through it, as you see the other riders did.
I think it was Vanderkoy who really hit that hole and got bounced around. So in this mission challenge, Mees putting his head down, getting away. It's $5,000. It's also another statement of, I'm going to make tonight just like last night when I dominated. And Bauman once again trying to figure out an answer for Sammy Halbert.
Yeah, these guys starting to spread out a little bit after that little mishap in between 1 and 2, hitting the hole. But these guys just trying to figure things out. They're probably throwing a lot of things at the drawing board right now, and they tried a lot of it here in the Mission Challenge. I mean, it doesn't pay any points, so there's a lot of money on the up for grabs, but these guys are looking at the biggest prize, and that's the main event, and trying to figure out how they're going to be able to pace Jared Mees.
Solid lead for Mees. This is a doubleheader. We don't always have that here, so is that making the track rougher?
Yeah, it does make it a little bit rougher. I mean, it's 95 degrees out today, so the track is drying up. It's going to break apart more. But Jared Mees bringing home another Mission Challenge win. I mean, that's 3 out of the last 4 Mission Challenges he's bringing home, so he's stacking it up in the bank account right now thanks to Mission.
That's $15,000 that he's won over the last 2 weekends. And in the end, Bauman was not able to get Halbert, and Mees takes a look back. He's got to be smiling under that helmet. His championship rival cannot figure it out here on the mile, and Jared Mees has it absolutely dialed. These races have not even been close. Let's send it to Kristen.
7 podiums and 7 starts, 3 wins and 3 main events. Jared has absolutely been dominant, and that's the biggest story here today at the Sacramento Mile. You have been untouchable. How much does that benefit your confidence, even with the snag that you guys had earlier on with the backup bike?
Yeah, I know confidence is high. Man, the bikes are working. It seems like better and better when we get on the track. Just got to keep it rolling. You know, one more good start and some good consistent laps. One more main event, and got a month break to think about it.
Well, that's interesting. Mees already knows tonight could be the night for him in the main, and then they will have a month before the series finale, which will be at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We get ready to talk title fight in the singles class when we return. Progressive American Flat Track is brought to you by Mission Foods, which has you covered with race day recipes that are too fast, too tasty. Progressive insures over 5 million boats, motorcycles, and RVs. Get a quote in under 4 minutes at AmericanFlatTrack.com/progressive. And by Law Tigers, you never have to ride alone. Here's the story in AFT singles. Dallas Daniels stretching his points lead to now 12. Max Whale had a rough go of it at our last race here in Sacramento, so Whale has to return fire. The friendly young Australian had the points lead just a couple of weeks ago. Daniels looking for back-to-back titles. Let's send it to Kristen.
Guys, right now, Max Whale is carrying the weight of this season on his shoulders. He told me, we made some adjustments so I can get more drive off the corner, but he said, I just want this so bad. And guys, it's the backstory that's really been pulling on my heartstrings. In this sport, in racing, you invest your whole life to get to this level, and your family's there every step of the way, but with a world crisis and COVID travel restrictions, Max Whale's dad, his family, his support system has had to stay in their home country of Australia. In the most critical time of Max's life, when he's fighting for a championship, his family isn't able to be here. The AFT paddock has been behind him, but that's still hard. At 20 years old, he is doing this on his own, and the most impressive part of this story, at least to me, Max has kept his head in the game. He hasn't allowed all these external factors to weigh on him. Max Whale has exhibited more composure and confidence than anyone could have expected as he looks to challenge Dallas Daniels in this title.
And Red Bull KTM announcing a new deal that he will be on the team through the 2023 season. Dallas Daniels on the line. So let's see how quickly Whale can learn the miles.
Yeah, it's super impressive how quick that Max has been able to pick things up here. I mean, they don't have any mile tracks in Australia. I mean, they really don't have any car tracks in Australia. So, I mean, he's been such a quick learner, and him to be able to be second in the championship again is super impressive.
But he would like to be first, and if Daniels there, the number 1, falters, Whale in the 18 would like to take advantage. Mile racing is so fun to watch, so let's do it here from Sacramento.
Yeah, look at Brunner, gets another great hole shot. Looks like Dallas Daniels going to be able to get second right in front of his teammate Mikey Rush.
And Brunner won this race last night, so back to the point position. And Daniels right there. And Rush is a California native, pretty local to this track. They would love to get around Brunner.
Definitely. Look at Morgan Mishler back there in 4th place. He's been super consistent all year long. This is a way better start than he had yesterday.
Yeah, we didn't see Morgan up front at our last event. Much better now. That'll push Whale back to 5th. And another rider to watch is Shayna Texter Bauman, who was 2nd and lost to Brunner by half a bike length last night. She's on the 52, though, pretty far back.
Hey, she's no stranger to being marching her way to the front from the back. I mean, she did it yesterday in her semifinal. I think she can probably do it here again today.
Okay, so don't count out Texter Bauman, who is very good on these mile tracks, but the best so far has been Brunner, and they are not able to draft by him. Oh, I spoke too soon. I thought Rush had it.
Yeah, the American Honda's been super strong for the last couple of years, and can't take anything away from Brunner as well. I mean, he's timing his drafts just perfect, and getting off the corners great as well.
Rush going to take a shot at him here in the front stretch. Pulls out a line. Isn't enough.
I think it was just a late draft pass going into the corner, which is fine, but obviously the objective is to get by before the start-finish line.
Okay, they're taking notes. Plenty of time to figure out if you want to be leading or in second or even third coming out of turn 4. And now Daniels takes a look.
And you can see there Daniels shifting down going into the corner. I mean, most of these guys are all shifting around the track. The 450s don't have the torque, the acceleration to get off the corner, so they'll be shifting 4th and 5th.
And shifting into the lead now is Daniels. And I think he got him by the line.
He did. That's something new for Dallas Daniels. He wasn't able to do that last night. That's really, really good if he can continue to do that throughout the main event. Come down to the last lap.
So first couple of laps, Brunner had it all handled, but the 2 Estenson Yamaha teammates have figured out a couple of different scenarios of how they can make passes and get to the lead. Now it's Brunner's turn to return fire.
That's the great thing about Dallas Daniels. I mean, he's wise beyond his years. I mean, he learns quick. I mean, from the last night, I know that he went back to the drawing board and just was thinking about what he could have done differently here today.
He was 3rd last night. Now he's in the lead. Although he's about to get pushed back to 3rd, Brunner made the move, and Rush almost as well.
Yeah, he actually led to the stripe that last lap, too, so he actually drafted to the line, made the pass the lap before, then was able to lead to the stripe that time, so now really he has control where Brunner had it last night.
And if you look at the back of the group, she has done it. Shayna Texter Bauman has moved forward close enough to be within draft distance of this group, and she was in a very similar position last night and was able to nearly pull off the race win.
Yeah, she was, but look at Tanner Dean as well. He's another rider that ups in the mix, but look at Dallas Daniels as well. Gets him by the line again.
Oh, so fun to watch the draft action on a mile track. Yes, Tanner Dean in the 38 is right there. Texter Bauman picked up a spot. Mishler, I think, has gone to the back of this group.
Yeah, this is a 6-rider battle. I mean, usually in the singles class, you got all of them together, but still 6 riders is crazy as Dallas Daniels starting to open up his entrance to the corner there, too, going around those holes. I mean, those holes going into turn 3, if you see these guys catching air going into the corner, I mean, they're going 100+ miles per hour.
That is mind-boggling. Spinning the tire, sliding, and then bouncing into the air. And despite all those obstacles, Mikey Rush just blasts right by.
And Mikey Rush, he's no stranger to when it comes to rough racetracks. So he's always said the rougher the better. So he's probably liking the racetrack, getting these different lines developed right now.
And he was struggling at some of the short tracks earlier in the year. Happened to be back at a mile, tussling with his teammate. They go back and forth on every straightaway. Daniels and Rush battling for the lead. We're on board with Shayna Texter Bauman, looking to get to that number 1 spot. Spectacular action, battling for the lead. Trevor Brunner has reclaimed it here. You're watching American Flat Track on NBCSN. Dallas Daniels in the number 1, pushed back to 2nd. Shayna Texter Bauman, with each lap that goes by, she picks up a spot.
Yeah, the podium finishers from last night, 1, 2, and 3. Look at Tanner Dean, puts himself up into the third spot now.
And he was able to get around Shayna, so he's in third, and he's got a shot at the win now.
Yeah, he really does. Tanner's been getting better and better at the mile tracks as learning. I mean, the more experience you can get on the miles, the better.
And now they fan out 4 wide into this corner, and Daniels back to the number 1 spot. Well, this is icing on the championship cake, because we have not seen Maxwell, who's battling Daniels for this championship, in this battle. So if Daniels wins this race, he will have a huge points lead with 1 race to go.
Yeah, Max is back in a lonesome 7th place, possibly seeing the championship slip away. If Dallas finishes where he's at right now, he'll actually be able to wrap up the championship today. I don't know if Dallas knows that, but he's doing everything he possibly can to win.
I just can't believe it. Only a few races ago, Whale had the points lead, but the race win and title might not come tonight because Brunner gets back around, and here comes Texter.
I think Brunner's actually turned it back around now. He was able to get by the start-finish line that last time, so he has the leverage back in his corner now.
You almost feel he could win it either way. They're leading off or from second. Here comes Daniels.
Wow, Dallas always fights back. He never wants to get further back than third, which is smart, because if you get further back than that, it starts to get chaotic and hard to move yourself back forward.
Yeah, somehow Rush has been shuffled to the back of the group, so he is going to have to be the aggressor now. He needs to make passes. Daniels back to the lead.
And Daniels, like you said, he's just such a veteran, more so as a younger rider. I mean, he's able to figure things out and move himself back to the front, almost what looks like with ease, but you know it's not easy with these riders out here going every which way.
No, Brunner has been very good here, and he's going to fight right back. So we've had 4 passes in 2 laps. Almost every straightaway, you're seeing Brunner and Daniels duke it out, and you'll wonder, what is Shayna Texter Bauman thinking? Is she waiting?
I think she is waiting. I don't think she's wanting to show her cards. I mean, it's 2 to go now. She's right in the position where she was yesterday in third. If she can just time it just perfectly, she might be able to get these guys by the line.
Yeah, she tried to third to first slingshot and came up a half a bike length short last night. So the 52, would like to try it again. As Daniels, he just wants to pull away right now. Can he do it?
Well, Brunner is going to be able to draft by going into turn 3. This is maybe what Dallas wanted, because he's been able to draft by the start-finish line. He's going to have to time it just perfect, though.
Can Brunner hold him off? Can he get a good enough drive to prevent the draft pass? White flag's about to come out.
All right, he wasn't able to get by the start-finish line there. You don't know if that was part of his strategy, or maybe he just wasn't able to get by him.
Okay, will he even try to take the lead on the backstretch, or will he wait for the front stretch? Trevor Brunner on the Progressive Insurance Turner Racing Honda, looking for a sweep here in Sacramento.
All right, let's see what he does. Doesn't get by him. Wow, Brunner hit that hole big time that time, but he has a couple bike length lead right now.
So this is it. We're into turn 4. Can Daniels or Texter Bauman draft, or is Brunner going to go back to back? Here's the run to the line. Daniels pulls out and comes up short.
That was so close. I think Brunner might have got it, though. That was.
Yes, I think Daniels missed by less than half a bike length this time. Man, unbelievable.
It just comes to a matter of inches and just milliseconds to be able to make the right move at the right time.
And they've done it back to back here in Sacramento. Trevor Brunner, start calling him the mile master.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, this is a hard race to win, and be able to do it back to back with this many riders. I mean, look at this dogfight to the end.
It was a late attempt to move out of line by Daniels, and he misses. It was half a bike length again. And Texter, who was second the last time around, will end up third. Couldn't do the double draft. Nope. So Brunner, and man, he charged hard into turn 3 to hold that lead, and he kept it all the way to the end.
2 for 2 on the Sacramento Mile, Trevor Brunner. Trevor, late in the season, you really turned it on. Where are you finding this confidence?
Well, started off the season pretty rough, and I just had to dig deep and focus on my training, and my racecraft. At past races, I've made some decisions during the race that haven't been the best, and that's what's kind of put me behind as far as the lead packs and stuff. So really, just working on my endurance, my training, and my racecraft is really what's been able to help me this past couple races.
Well, it is all about racecraft on the miles. Shayna Texter Bauman tried to draft from third to first both nights. She ended up a close second last night, and she will be third this time. Daniels finishes second, but Maxwell seventh. It's going to leave him with a big points lead. Let's hear from Shayna.
Back-to-back podiums at the Sacramento Mile. Shayna, you and I kind of talked about this yesterday. Social media, some folks at home may have doubted you a little bit this season. What does this back-to-back performance at Sacramento say as someone who may have doubted you?
Yeah, I think it shows that, when I have the right bike settings and the proper mindset, we can go out and do these things, and I think we're doing it.
There you go, back-to-back podiums for Shayna. We look at the points. There's the damage. Maxwell still mathematically in it, but Daniels the 20-point lead. He goes 3-2 at our 2 races in Sacramento. He has turned the series around. It was looking shaky at mid-season. Here's Dallas.
Earlier in the day, you told me that you and Brad Baker strategized. You took what you learned at Sacramento Mile 1, applied it here in the race today. Were you able to execute it?
Well, yeah, after the race yesterday, me and Brad talked for a little bit, and, like Shayna said, I think we did everything we possibly could. Those Hondas run good, so I thought, I need to try something different for today. I was trying to think, and I talked to Brad a little bit, and he gave me a few tips, and for sure, I tried the things he said. And I was, the whole race, actually, I was, testing more than, racing, where, yesterday, I think I was, trying to be in the lead, where, in there, I was working on where I could pass, and if I could draft, or if I should be leading, and I did that move perfect, I think 3 or 4 laps, and coming off the final corner, I was like, all right, here we go. This is perfect timing, and I pulled out and that's just mile racing. Just by this much, we lost it, and I had no idea that if I would have won, I would have won the title. That's, it doesn't mean nothing right now. It'll mean something here in a few weeks if we can seal it up. It felt good to be up front all week and to be a shoo-in for the win.
All right, Brad Baker doing it all here at the racetrack, helping out these riders. And Dallas Daniels not quite champion yet, but very close. Trevor Brunner going to celebrate again, and we will get ready for our Mission Super Twins main. Progressive American Flat Track is brought to you by Cat Rental Store, the official heavy equipment supplier of American Flat Track. Progressive insures over 5 million boats, motorcycles, and RVs. Get a quote in under 4 minutes at AmericanFlatTrack.com/progressive. And Motion Pro makes innovative tools and products that help you maintain and repair motorcycles, ATVs, and UTVs. Second day we were racing here, the Law Tiger Sacramento Mile. Last time out in our production twins class, Corey Texter took the race win on the G&G Yamaha, and that allowed him to lock up the title. Still wants to win the race today, though, but Chad Coates giving him all he can handle on that Vance and Hines Harley-Davidson. This is the last lap.
Yeah, the California kid, they call him, wanted to bring one home for his home state. But Corey Texter takes over the lead going into turn 3. It's going to be a matter who gets the draft to the line here.
Yeah, so maybe Coates wants to be in second to try to repass as we come out of turn 4, and here's the run to the line.
Chad Coates doesn't look like he quite has the run. He pulls out. Oh, just a half a bike length short.
Oh, and another win for Texter, but then watch this.
Well, looked like maybe a little too much celebration for Corey Texter. Gets in a little deep and just has to lay it down. Gets in the air fence pretty hard. Luckily, he gets up and he's okay.
Wow, okay. Well, the title's already wrapped up and he has back-to-back race wins. So use some of those funds, I guess, to fix the motorcycle. He's bummed looking down at his wrecked machine. And Texter dominated last night. Coates much closer this time. Still ends up second. And Morgan Mishler, who's also strong in our singles division, has been looking good lately, jumping up on a production twins bike. He will round out the podium. All right, let's talk to a race winner again, Corey Texter.
Corey Texter wrapped up this championship at round 14. This should have been smooth sailing, but Corey, not going to go out like that. This guy's a fighter. Corey, you were battling throughout that race with Chad Coates. What allowed you to race so defensively, and also what happened after the checkered flag dropped?
Yeah, I was having some issues middle of the main event on with my front end. I kept losing my front end. Never had that happen before. I just couldn't keep the front end on top. So I saw Chad coming, and I knew I could kind of chest match him a bit, and I was hoping I could get that run. I wanted to lead off 4 because that Yamaha power is strong, and the checkered, I just too much send and not enough grip. I just couldn't stop, and I'm like, I ain't saving this, so I just pitched her away. Just everybody else who supports me, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So Jared Mees, we talk so much about what a competitor he is on the racetrack, but he admits he's a totally different guy during the week when we're not racing.
Life as a racer is very hectic. We're traveling a lot, flying, driving. These days, life at home is just as important to me as racing is. I recently just remodeled a new house here in Michigan. I used to live in Clio, now I'm a little bit south in Linden. I still enjoy coming to Michigan in the summertime. It's a great place to train, keep a routine going. A lot of you know I have a 4-year-old daughter named Hayden and my wife Nicole, and we enjoy just simple family time. Down low. Oh, too slow. One of the coolest things about being in Michigan is being close to my buddy Brian Smith and the legend Scotty Parker. A lot of the greatest flat track racers are born and bred right here in Flint, Michigan.
You know, I mean, just being in the local Fenton area here and having all 3 of us from here really makes it cool. You know, we get to, you know, next thing you know, we're down to the local corner having dinner, enjoying the riding time, or being out here on the lake. That's the really cool part about it.
How many wins you got?
Come on, Jared. You know everything says 9-time GNC, 94 wins. Did you forget?
I got 35 more to beat your.
Ooh, you got a little work cut out.
So you only got to win more than I've got at 33 to even tie him.
Oh, good one.
The best part about hanging out with these guys is Jared's always trying to prove that he's as good as Scott, which we all know he's not, but the banter back and forth. Of course, you're always going to have fun with Scott, but when you bring Jared around, there's a lot of questions, and Scott usually shuts him down right away.
Is that all there is?
Is that all there is? Scotty, it's nice to actually come around Scotty because he relaxes myself. He gets me off my edge. You know, we talk about old times. We have a lot in common, obviously, but he brings a lot of fun out in me. Brian, he could be serious, let's go training, but dude, let's go have some fun on the lake. So like I said, it's good to have these guys around for me because I'm stone cold sometimes. I'm serious. I'm too focused, as some people would say. I enjoy living here in Michigan, hanging out in the summertime. I got my family here, obviously, but I got great friends and be a part of the legacy and the heritage of Michigan flat track. It's awesome to be able to call this place home.
Okay, let's transition to Dunlop Tire Talk here, Brad.
Yeah, today they've actually mandated the R9. Yesterday, there was so much tire wear that there's actually some riders showing cords, maybe only had a lap or 2 left on the tires. So it was just a safety call to go to the R9 today to make sure the tire had what it took to be able to make it to the end.
Tire management will be key in a very long main event. A rough surface and everything on the line. Jared Mees could take the points lead if he wins again in Sacramento. Progressive American Flat Track on NBCSN. Just 2 rounds remain in the 2021 championship, and this will be pivotal. Let's send it to Kristen.
In basketball, it's clutch time. In baseball, it's a tie game in the bottom of the 9th. If Jared Mees can win here, he will leave California as the points leader. The pressure is on, but this is where and when Jared Mees thrives. He lives for Hail Mary moments. And guys, when I spoke with Jared Mees earlier in the day, he told me this. He said, I do my best when my back is against the wall. I asked him to explain that psychology. He said, in my mind, there's nowhere else to go. And the numbers support that. 7 consecutive podiums, 3 wins in 3 starts. Guys, Jared Mees, if he can get it done here again tonight, he'll be 4 for 4.
And he was once more than 30 points, a full race distance out of the points lead. He'd get it back. He's just been so good on these miles. Does anyone have an answer, Brad? It's not looking good if you're not Jared Mees.
No, what these guys have to do is get out behind him and just stay his pace. If they start racing each other, they're just going to let him get away again.
Legendary Sacramento Mile, second leg of a doubleheader. 14 minutes and 2 laps. Brian Smith will race for the last time in the number 4. Let's go.
Looks like a great start from Jared Vanderkooi from the inside.
Terrible start for Bauman. He got shuffled back. So he's got work to do.
Yeah, he's in 4th place now. He's right on the backside of Jared Mees, though, so he has to be able to stay there.
Okay, so he was able to hold off the rush from row 2. And here goes Mees down to the inside to try to take the lead. No, Sammy Halbert and Van der Kooi not going to let it happen this time.
Now they shut the door on him and say, no way, we're not letting you go by this early.
And it allows Bauman to catch right back up to Mees, so it's the battle that we wanted to see. And Brian Smith is lurking in the next group.
Jared thought he was going to be able to take over the lead there. He gets himself in the 2nd. See what he's able to do, get the draft pass onto the back straightaway here.
This will be critical. Can Halbert on the 69 as they get onto this backstretch? Can he prevent Mees from making the pass? Mees goes for it.
It looks like he has him cleared going into turn 3. Now Sammy has to be able to stick right on his rear tire and be able to pace him. But as you can see how Jared just going into turn 3 already has a couple bike lengths. I mean, he's just able to roll into the corners so good.
S&S on board with Mees. This is incredible. With the draft, it is so hard to pull away, but he routinely does it. Meanwhile, you see Bauman taking a look to try to get around Van der Kooi.
Yeah, he's coming in wider, just trying to open up that entrance of the corner. That way he can carry more speed to the center. It's kind of a risky move because you take a chance of possibly slipping off the groove.
How about Brian Smith? He has caught this lead group in his final race in American Flat Track, the 2016 Series champion, and he is riding Jared Mees' bike. It's a backup machine that he brought to California.
Yeah, I mean, it might have just took Brian this long to be able to get comfortable on the motorcycle again. I mean, this is the same chassis that he won all the races he did when he was riding for Indian Motorcycle. So now maybe it just took him this long to be able to get himself back acquainted with it, and he's on the backside of these guys.
Mission on board with Jared Van der Kooi, who has been very quick. 2nd place last night. He's battling Halbert, and they are all making life difficult on your series champion.
Yeah, look at Brian Smith right on the backside of these guys. I mean, he could be one other rider to get himself in between Briar Bauman and Jared Mees. So Briar right now sitting in 4th. He got to get himself up in the 2nd.
And Bauman went for the pass, and it worked. I thought he was going to get zapped by Smith. Instead, he got to 2nd.
He did, and now he gets a couple bike length lead. I mean, his corner speed has been really good all weekend long. He hasn't been able to get by going down the straightaway, but if he's able to break away from these guys, get a couple laps, clean corners, he might be able to break away as well.
This is the first shot we have seen here in Sacramento with Bauman by himself. He has finally gotten around Halbert. He couldn't figure it out last night. He does it now with the Indian Motorcycle on board. Can he catch Jared Mees?
You can see the double draft that he took going into turn 1. I mean, he timed that perfectly using the big pocket of air that both Van der Kooi and Sammy Halbert were creating.
So it seemed like a foregone conclusion once Mees got the lead and started to pull away that he'd win this race, but Bauman has everything to fight for, all the motivation in the world to try to run him down.
Yeah, to run him down and just stay as close as he possibly can, just minimize the damage coming out of Sacramento here.
And the old mile master, Brian Smith, has found his form, headed toward the podium positions. Lots of action coming your way. Stay with us. Law Tigers Sacramento Mile continues. Jared Mees has the lead. Briar Bauman got to 2nd, tried to get away, but look at this. He has a fight of his life on his hands. Halbert, Van der Kooi, Smith, they're all right there.
Yeah, I thought that Briar might be able to get away from these guys, but they've tracked him back down. He has 4 or 5 riders right behind him now. He has to hold on to that 2nd place finish.
It is all on the line right now. I don't think Bauman's going to catch Mees. He has to finish 2nd in this race to preserve his points lead. And Van der Kooi right there.
Yeah, you've seen Briar go above that hole in between 1 and 2, just slipped up a little bit. That was enough for these guys to be able to gain the time back on him.
Meanwhile, a flawless run. Jared Mees looking for 4 wins in a row. A fantastic late season march, trying to win this AFT championship for the 6th time. There will be 1 round to go after this. Who will have the points lead? Oh, it's getting closer and closer for 2nd.
Yeah, Sammy Halbert had a perfect draft pass going into turn 1 there, but slipped wide. in the middle of the corner there. That's where that hole is. If you don't time that disc perfectly, it'll catch you off guard.
And that allowed Bauman to hold him at bay as Halbert and Vanderkooi continue to fight. This track is rough, seeing the bikes wiggle and wobble everywhere they go. So far, Bauman able to withstand it all.
Yeah, you see the riders going into turn 3 there. They're either going below or above that hole. I mean, if they go directly through it, I mean, it's a rough ride.
Vanderkooi going to try the outside. They cannot quite draft past Bauman.
I'm looking at Smith back there. I mean, I don't know if maybe he's just holding back. He knows that he's in a good position right now. I don't know if he's just maybe holding back, just trying to study these guys and see where he needs to be, because this is a position that Smith's been in a lot. I mean, he's the biggest veteran out there. I mean, having experience on these miles, he might be in a perfect position here for the following laps.
Oh, we always called him the mile master. If anyone knows how to play the draft game, it is Brian Smith, the number 4, in his last ever race. Can he make it to the podium? And now Halbert has finally figured out a way to get around Bauman.
And now Bauman is back in a fight here. He's going to have to get by Halbert again, but we know that that's been really hard for him all weekend long.
Yeah, he could not figure it out for the majority of last night's race. He did it pretty early here. Now he has to do it again.
Yeah, Halbert's just doing a great job getting off the corners, but see Smith there almost slipping off the groove. Yeah, he just has to barely hold on there. I mean, if he makes any mistake getting off the groove and loses these guys, that's going to maybe be the rest of the race for himself.
Bauman barely able to hold off the advance of Vanderkooi while he re-attacks Halbert. Every championship point is going to count. As Bauman looks for 3 straight championships, it looked assured at mid-season, but this stretch of mile races and the dominance of Mees has put the title back in play.
Yeah, see Breyer, he might just be sitting back there just trying to hold on to 3rd position like he was yesterday, and just planning on that last lap. Where do I got to be? Do I got to get by him going in turn 3, or am I going to wait until the last straightaway to draft by the line?
Because he is able to thwart all the attempts from Vanderkooi, who's there in the 20, the Mission Foods Roof Systems back rider. Vanderkooi keeps trying to take 3rd away, and Bauman is able to defend each time.
Yeah, it's a stressful position that he's put in right now, trying to hold on to that 3rd position, trying to plan where he's going to get by Halbert, but also not let anybody by at the same time.
But I think the X factor is Smith. He was not in this battle last night, so we don't know what he has under the hood or how he's going to play it. And the number 4 is getting aggressive.
Yeah, he has to get himself by Vanderkooi. I mean, if he's able to get into that 4th position, that'll allow him to be able to plan something for that last lap and possibly get by the start-finish line.
Brian Smith riding Jared Mees' backup bike. These two are longtime friends. It got a little icy and dicey between them when they were battling for championships in the series. They have had many great races, even on this racetrack, on the miles, and things got heated. They're friends again, and for Smith's last run, he's got a horse underneath him that could potentially take him to the podium if he can make one more pass.
Yeah, we see here, Breyer got 2nd position. See if he's able to hold on to it now, but he's slipping up just a little bit off the corner there, and Sammy Howard's been so strong down the straightaway. They got a good running motorcycle underneath him.
He gave a small look at the draft. Oh, Smith did it. He finally got around Vanderkooi.
Yeah, that's exactly what Smith needed to do. Now that puts him in a good position to be able to strategize the pass here for the last couple laps.
All right, onto the front stretch. 1 to go. Jared Mees dominating here in Sacramento. And Brian Smith making more moves.
He pulled out on Sammy Halbert. Actually, Sammy had an issue there. He had to pull out like that. You see Sammy went all the way back. He must have a little bit of a mechanical.
Oh, heartbreaker. Halbert had a shot at the podium for certain. He's now out of the top 5. And Brian Smith is there. Can he get around Bauman? He's got the spot.
He does. He drafts by going into turn 3. Now, this is going to be a hard challenge for Breyer to see if he can line up the draft pass at the line.
It's going to be desperate times. Smith has taken points away from Bauman. Can Bauman repass him down the stretch? Mees cruises to back-to-back wins. Here's the run to the line. Fisher pulls out of line, cannot make the move. Brian Smith takes 2nd in his last ever race.
How much drama is that? I mean, for Brian to be able to bring home a 2nd place finish, I mean, bummer for Sammy Halbert having a little bit of mechanical there, but Brian put himself in the perfect position to bring home second.
And Brian Smith says thank you to Jared Mees for letting him borrow a bike. He had problems with his own equipment. Mees takes the win. I don't know if Mees could have planned the fact that he lets Smith borrow a bike and Smith puts the bike between him and Bauman. That's big time points.
Nothing but hugs and high fives for both the Mees and Smith camp. Those guys worked together this day with all their championship rivals they've had in the past. Pretty cool for them to finish 1-2.
Bauman will end up third in both Sacramento miles, and that allows Mees to make up big points. He will take over the series lead. One race to go in Charlotte. Halbert ends up 8th. Let's go to the podium.
4 wins in 4 starts, and Jared Mees will leave California as the points leader in the Super Twins class. Jared, these last few weeks, emotionally, physically taxing. I know how much you invest into this sport, but to come out here and have all that hard work come to fruition, I mean, how are you feeling walking away from this race?
I feel amazing, actually. Right after Peoria, there was a 25-point gap, and there was exactly 5 races to go. And if I won them all, I was 25 points exactly if Breyer finished in second. So I'm like, well, I got to try to win all these things. And I knew I had a really good shot on the miles. Our mile program the last few years has been very, very strong. And I wanted to come in and win these 4 races. And, we got a big break now, unfortunately. I'd like to try to keep the momentum rolling to next weekend if the race is next weekend. But all in all, we'll go back, go through the routines week in and week out, come to Charlotte, and try to get it done. Breyer will be very, very tough at Charlotte. He's a really great half-mile guy. And all said and done, man, I give a huge shout out to B. Smith, my buddy. That's so awesome. I lent him that bike, and just every time he went out and came back in, he got a little bit better and a little bit better, and we were trying to help him. I had Jimmy there trying to set the bike up a little different for him. Him and I got a little bit different riding style, so to turn around and see the big number 4 come, across that line, it was like I was more pumped for Brian getting second on my bike than I was actually winning it. That's so cool and so awesome for you, Brian. You were a big rival of mine and a big pain in my ass a lot of times, but it was great racing with you all your career and all my career, and let the friendship continue, and I can't wait for the future of our of more memories together outside of racing. So I don't know what else to say.
Heck of a story there. Mees absolutely dominant on 4 straight mile tracks, mounting an incredible charge in the series. He was injured, he was out of it. Now he's got a great shot at it. 1 to go. AFT at NBCSN is brought to you by Indian Motorcycle, the official partner of Progressive American Flat Track. Honda's all-new Talon 1000 X4 is the official sports side-by-side of AFT. And Mission Foods has you covered with race day recipes that are too fast, too tasty. So Brian Smith, well, first he hopped on Mees' backup bike to take the second place finish. Now he's on the main bike. They will take a victory lap together. Friends, rivals, somewhat teammates this weekend. How about Brian Smith, runner-up in his last race?
Brian, what a way to go out.
It'd have been fun if that was the pass for the win, but Jared schooled us all. But hey, I was just happy to eat on the podium. Unfortunately, Sammy blew up or something broke, and it's between me and Breyer. I was happy to get second. Jared said, you can borrow my bike, but you can't beat me, so second was the best I was getting today anyway. I got to thank my whole crew, my family, my team on the Howard Motorsports guys, and of course today Jared's crew for loaning me a bike and helping out. I can't thank them enough, or this wouldn't have been possible, and I'd be really mad all winter long, and maybe had to come out of retirement. Now I can just ride off into the sunset, as they say.
Here it is. Jared Mees has the points lead now.
Yeah, this sets up for an awesome finale in Charlotte. I mean, it's going to be winner take all come Charlotte. I mean, these guys have a lot to think about for the next month.
Yep, whoever wins that race would be the champion between Bauman and Mees.
Breyer, it would be easy to talk about the race that we just saw unfold, but I'm more interested in what's next. What happens between now and Charlotte?
I would say grind, but to be honest with you, I'm so stinking tired at this point in the season. I'm going to take, what do we have, like a month until Charlotte, so I'll take a couple weeks off, to be honest with you. I got Max Will with me and Shayna. Shayna rode so good today, and we're going back to Salinas. We're going to regroup and prepare for the war, honestly. I mean, to be completely open and honest, I didn't really care if I took a second or a third. That means I have to win going in. I knew hats off to Jared Mees. The last 4 miles, the dude has been unstoppable. Rumor has it even got torn down. Everything was legal. So I didn't really think we were going to podium today. So to come away with a podium and still leave us a shot at this championship is pretty big for me.
Wow, so he didn't expect to win at all, but he's got to do it at the finale.
Yeah, I mean, nothing away from Breyer. He was able to get 4 podiums in a row, minimize the damage, and still has a great shot. Going to regroup and, like you said, get ready for the war in Charlotte.
Yeah, that's a half mile. He's a lot better on those tracks. Winner take all at our finale October 9th on NBCSN. Congrats to Jared Mees, dominant here in Sacramento. Great career for Brian Smith. For Brad Baker and Kristen Beat, I'm Jason Weingat. Thanks for watching.